and welcome to Heartcraftpaper. Today we are making the Vintage Wedding Rose by Cricut. For this, you will need the following supplies. The Staples cover stock, 8.5 by 11 in white, Recollection cardstock in mint green, dye ink, 2 gradient colors of choice, dye ink, bamboo green or thereabouts, glue, marker in green, a folding bone, tweezers, and flower tools. McGill has a good set. To begin, we will start with a new project in Design Space. I began by searching out flowers and looking for the flower groupings that I liked. I eventually found a set of choice in the Vintage Wedding cartridge grouping. In this particular cartridge, there is a rose that I found to be quite lovely and natural looking. Again, this is under the Vintage Wedding cartridge. Now, we're going to select the item and send it off to the mat so we can adjust the size. Once here, adjust your screen size to 50% so you can view the whole item. Now, for this particular cut, I made 2 large flowers. The first one measuring 21.56 inches by 4.65 inches. And then I also made a smaller one, and the size for that one was 16.7 inches by 3.47 inches. You can make note of the dimensions for both the large and the small rose, here as shown and indicated. Now, once you've noted that, again, we're going to go ahead and send this off to cut. Here we go. Just to make mention, the cardstock that we're using here is 67 pounds, so it is not quite as stiff as regular cardstock, so it is a little bit more malleable. So now here we have 2 large roses and the templates for the 3 smaller ones. For this project, we're going to start off with the large rose. So moving along, I'm going to utilize 2 gradient dyes, one in a light pink and the other in the dusty rose. And this will be as the flower goes from light to dark. From the center, of course, it's darker. So we're going to go ahead and try and make it as natural as possible. Now that the blending process is completed, we're going to use the McGill flower tool set. I'm going to pull out the largest steel ball they have, and utilizing this foam mat that you can get at Michael's for about 99 cents, we're going to go ahead and roll the edges here. The reason we're doing that is to get that nice little roll. Now, you can also use this tool to be able to round out or at least make it easier for you to fold and roll into a rose. So you can use a boning tool, you can use the steel ball. But again, you want to be able to utilize it in the reverse direction of how we're going to put in the steel ball. Okay, so you can also use your hands to do this as well and kind of roll it around. Now that we've finished rolling our rose petals, we can now start forming our center. With the shortest side, we want to pick the closest slot that's available. There are 2. So on the shorter side, you'll insert the tab into the slot, and then you'll create a nice tight roll so you know exactly how far you have to tighten it, and enter that second tab into the second slot. just unroll it to start the gluing process. We're going to glue right under the tab, and then again, once we enter that second tab into the second slot, we'll glue again. Now, this is where your tweezers are going to come in handy, because you're going to use your tweezers just to kind of hold those tabs down and the petals as you glue them, just to make sure that it locks into place. Now we're ready to start the secondary portion of the center of the rose. So this one is just going to fit right outside of the center. And as you can see, kind of give you a sample here. We're going to start with the non-tab side. It's got a slot here that will be for the tab section, and then another slot here for the starting position of the first petal. So it typically would have multiple slots, but I think Cricut forgot to actually enter it, as they do have another rose that has all of these slots included for all of the 3 petals. So we're going to utilize all of these, and unfortunately we're just going to have to eyeball it, which actually gives it a more natural look. Now we're ready to glue the center of the rose. I've adjusted the petal, the bending of the petals, utilizing my tweezers just to kind of get them into a more fixed position. And now I'm just going to go ahead and add a dash of glue and stick it down. I want to utilize my tweezers to be able to hold it into place. That way nothing falls apart on me. Now we're ready to start with our petals. We're going to take the 2 sides and overlap them so you get this nice little indent, and as you can see, where the roll should be facing the opposite direction of how we're going to glue these together, so we get this nice configuration here. We're going to need our tweezers for this, and of course glue. So we're going to start by adding a small dash of glue on the long tab side, pulling them together, and with the tweezers holding them into place, and then continue on, just leaving it a couple of seconds for it to dry. Now we're ready to start adding our first petal into this slot. Either glue it above or insert it, whatever is easier for you. And we're just gonna also set the petals askew and just kind of arrange them around the flower, since we don't have any additional slots to direct us. Now that we've finished assembling our rose, just adjust the petals slightly just to open them up a little bit. we'll get started on the leaves. This leaf set gives you 2 smaller leaves that would go attached to the 2 3-leaf petals. And the way that this works is you're going to attach it right above there and set the flower on it. So this just kind of gives you an idea. So as you can see, these petals are a mint green. I'm going to utilize a bamboo green dye and just go ahead and start shading that in, starting with the tip, so that way it goes darker and then lighter as a gradient shade. Now it's time to get out your marker. I'm going to utilize this olive green to make the veins that would flow throughout the leaf. Just gently make them. They do not need to be uniform. Freehand is perfectly fine because, of course, like anything in nature, nothing is ever the same or perfect. So this is how you would assemble it. You'd place that center leaf there, just between the 2 side leaves. But what I want to do first is I want to roll out the leaves just to kind of mimic a natural look. And I also want to match it to how that center leaf is kind of folded inwards, and then roll out the end portion backwards. I will do this for all the leaves that you see here. We're now in the final stages of the assembly. We're going to arrange the leaves where we think we would like them, and then we're just going to simply glue them down. The final piece is just adding glue to the back side here, and we're going to glue down this dot just to close off the back end and that you can't see through the center of the rose. And there you have it, our completed rose. Thank you for watching Heartcraft Paper.